Aduke couldn't believe Mommy had agreed with her father that she should visit a prophet. At that point, she decided she was going to tell her the truth, that she knows what the problem was. But then, Mommy is too soft-hearted. What if she falls sick or develops a heart attack because of the news? Aduke was her only child. She couldn't conceive after she had her, and Aduke's children, her supposed grandchildren, were all she looked up to. What then will be the case when she finds out she can carry a child? Oh, her father wouldn't even believe her story. He would think she had been involved in a wayward life in school. Who then would believe her story? So Aduke decided not to. Mommy, come on. What does visiting a prophet has to do with all this? She asked her mother. Oh, Mommy, it has everything, no. Isn't it strange that two men who were happily in love with you would just call it a quit without a tangible reason? See, we are not going to wait till it gets to number 3, number 4, number 5 or even 6 suitors before we react. It is better to look for the black goats during the day, for at night it becomes difficult, she rounded off. Aduke exhaled. Oh, Mommy, if that will make you happy. So which prophet do you have in mind? She asked her. Well, my daughter, you know I'm not into any of these prophets. But Iya Modupe knows one. According to her, the man is very powerful. You know Modupe got married and couldn't conceive for almost 3 years. It was the prophet that prayed for her. And today, she's Iya Beji. She gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. So you see, the prophet is very powerful. She sang his praises. She placed a call to Iya Modupe to send her the prophet's address, and she did. They then decided to go pay him a visit the next day. As early as 5 a.m., Mommy had woken Aduke up to get ready for the visit. Haba, Mommy. Isn't this too early, Ni? She asked, feeling sleepy. No, it is not. I heard his church is always full today. People come from all walks of life to see him and get solutions to their problems, Mommy said. Oh, Aduke reluctantly went to the bathroom and freshened up. About past 6, they were both ready and set to visit the prophet. While inside the bus, so many thoughts went through Aduke's head. What if the prophet is really as powerful as Mommy had said, and he finds out the reason men are withdrawing the marriage proposal? Oh, Mommy, this will break her heart. Oh my God, how do I make us go back? She was still lost in thought when she heard Mommy saying, Oh yeah, stop, oh, we are stopping here. She paid and they alighted. Aduke wished the ground could open up and swallow her, but that wasn't happening. They soon found themselves in a church, and some persons were already inside waiting to see the prophet too. They were asked to sit and wait for their turn. They were also given numbers. After about 1 hour 30 minutes, it was their turn, and it was past 10 a.m. already. They got inside the office and met a man in his late 40s or early 50s. They greeted him and sat down. You are welcome, my daughters. What has brought you to Jehovah? He asked. Aduke's mother narrated. My Lord, it is my daughter. Suitors who love her keeps disappointing her for no good reason. The very first one, the date for the introduction had been fixed, but the young man ended up things just a day too. The other one is most recent, a good and handsome man who loves my daughter so well. He just went abroad to further his education, and before we know it, he has sent a message to my daughter ending things with her without any misunderstanding. My Lord, we have come to know what the problem is and why these things keep happening. Jehovah. The prophet did some prayers and spoke in strange tongues. Aduk was almost dying of a heart attack where she sat. Woman, your daughter have a spiritual husband. Aduk was shocked to her bones when she heard that. You see, her spiritual husband is a very stubborn and jealous one. Those men had to end things with her because the spiritual husband had gone to warn them to stay away from her, else he would have them killed. They left her to save themselves. Until the bond she has with the spiritual husband is broken, she will never be able to settle down, he said. Oluwa o, ṣàánú fún mi. Aduke's mother was just crying in confusion while Aduke watched the drama unravel. My God, what can be done to set my daughter free? She's all I have. She's all, Mommy asked in tears. Well, I will have to go into a 21 days prayer and fasting for her. I will be needing money to buy white candle, red candle, black candle, and yellow candle. I will also need money for spiritual items to aid the prayers. And of course, a thank you daddy envelope. So everything should be around 120,000. Aduke immediately got up and walked out when he said that. She couldn't stand him anymore. He's just a thief in white clothes. She waited for Mommy to join her outside. Aduke, what was that for? How dare you walk out on a prophet of God whom God has used to unravel the mystery around you? Aduke didn't want to have such conversation there. She kept quiet, waiting for them to get home. Mommy, that prophet is fake. He doesn't even know what he's saying. Everything he said was nothing but lies, she said when they got home. Aduke, keep quiet. That man has done so much for so many people. Modupe is a living testimony. If not for that prophet, Modupe wouldn't have conceived, Mommy insisted. Oh, Mommy. Modupe only got pregnant because it was her time. Because God remembered her. Not because one prophet who doesn't know what he's doing did anything. Aduke, see what he said may sound foolish to you and I. But then, that's what God showed him. I am going to give him that money so that he can start the prayers as soon as possible. I can't wait to become a grandmother, Mommy said and walked out. Oh, Mommy, he's going to throw away the sum of 120,000 naira. Oh, my faith. How cruel can life be to some of us? A mistake I made just once had to ruin me this much. What kind of life is this? Aduke cried. It was a month already after the visit of the prophet. She decided to focus on getting a good job and move on with her life. Luckily for her, she got a job in a reputable bank in Lagos. The pay was nice and she was doing well for herself. Mommy and even Bami were proud of her. She was a strong, independent young woman. Men weren't even asking her out anymore. She was better. At least, no more having hopes that would be broken in 1,000 pieces. She was a diligent staff, punctual and dedicated. Soon, she was promoted and she was very happy. Joyce was getting married, and Aduke was a maid of honor. She was very happy for her. Jade deserved all she got, a good man who loved her so much. They talked at length on her wedding eve. She was so sorry she had to go through all she had been through. Aduke, you will be fine. It may take time, but trust me you will, because you are a good person. You do not deserve all that is going on. Trust me. I believe God will do a miracle in your life. Just hold on to Him. Believe in God. He is a trusted friend and definitely a great physician. He only can do what no one can do. Joyce encouraged her. Aduke cried bitterly. It was as though she was hearing about God for the first time. She then realized she wasn't holding on to him as tight as she should. God will wipe away your tears, dear. Trust me, you shall finally have your day of celebration, Jay concluded. She hugged her tightly and allowed Aduke to cry her eyes out. They both slept off and woke up to Joy's wedding day. It was a wonderful day. She was glamorously beautiful and was all smile. It was her day after all. Aduke couldn't help but wonder if she shall ever be a bride one day. Soon, the wedding was over and the bride and bridegroom went to their new home. Aduke couldn't stop reminiscing about the conversation with Jay. She went to church the next day, not like every other day, but to seek God's face. She went with a broken heart and pleaded to God to have mercy. She rededicated herself totally to him, and somehow she felt a heavy load off her chest. Time went by. She was already 28 and no man in her life. She wasn't bothered. She was convinced God had a better plan for her. One Monday morning, a young man came to open an account with them with a large sum of money, and she was assigned to him. "Good day, sir. I am Miss Aduke and will be the one handling your account," she said. "Oh, good day, Miss Beautiful," he replied with a smile. Aduke had his account open and he took her phone number just in case he needed to have a business conversation. Mr. Ben kept calling Aduke outside of his account's purpose. He was wanting to be a friend, and Aduke actually felt he had other plans, but her heart wasn't ready for yet another disappointment. Ben wouldn't give up. He soon found her address and came visiting one day. Aduke was living by herself. She had to rent an apartment closer to her work to avoid the Lagos traffic. Mr. Ben was a man of few words. He made his intentions known. He wanted her to be his girlfriend. Aduke asked him for some time to think about it, and he obliged. Ben seems nice and fun to be with. Why not give it a shot? Aduke said to herself. She agreed to be with him, and it was a new phase of her life. The only difference is that she had decided never to disclose her situation to Ben and believe God for a miracle. Ben happened to be a very lovely person. He loved Aduke so much. He took her to his family and they received her with open hands and love. Aduke also brought him to see Bami and Mami, and they liked him so much. Who wouldn't like Ben anyways? He was a lively, jolly good fellow. He had lived most of his years abroad. He comes home every now and then. He actually came this time to get married and settle in Nigeria. He will only be going on vacation with his family, as he had said. Aduke only noticed that a particular number was calling him, and most times he ignores the call. Other times, he picks up and asks the caller to stop calling him. One day, she had to ask him who the person was, and he told her it was his ex-girlfriend who was calling him and begging them to get back. "Why did you break up with her?" Aduke asked him again. "I actually caught her in bed with my best friend in a house I was paying the bills. She said she wanted to live on her own and didn't want to live with her parents anymore. I obliged and rented a well-furnished and nice apartment for her. I came back to Nigeria without informing her, hoping to surprise her. Instead, I was the one welcomed with a surprise when I saw her in bed with my best friend. I almost died of shock. And now that she knows I found someone, she's desperate, begging to come back." "Who does that?" Ben narrated. It is so unfortunate," Aduke said. "Oh, come on. Don't let that bother you. She will stop calling when she's tired." Ben and Aduke continued dating until one evening, he called her anxiously like he was in pain, asking her to come over and help him. Aduke was confused and wondered what the problem was. She took a cab and rushed to his house, only for her to be welcomed with a beautiful decoration while he was on one of his knees asking her to be his wife. Aduke was so happy. She jumped on him, saying yes, Happily, she went home and informed Mommy and Bami that Ben had proposed. They were so happy for her. Ben was every woman's dream, loving, caring, and so peaceful. At some point, she wanted to tell him the truth about herself, but then she remembered what that had cost her. Mike and Williams. She didn't want to take that risk yet again. Hence, she kept mute. A date was fixed for their formal introduction. It was a beautiful celebration. Ben had come with his parents, siblings, some kinsmen and friends, while Aduke's family welcomed them with open hands. The traditional marriage list was handed over to him and his family. A date was then fixed for both the traditional and white wedding. They started planning for their wedding. And planning for a wedding is no easy task at all. But thank God Aduke had Mommy. She was the one here and there. She was very happy her daughter was getting married finally. You see, my daughter, I told you that prophet is very powerful. You see, Ben has come and everything is going smoothly. The first phase is done and the wedding is a success already, she happily told Aduke. Oh, Mommy, not again. Please, let's leave this prophet thing. He is fake and I still maintain my stand. I am getting married because it is God's will, not because any prophet did whatever. But Aduke was wasting her time, as Mommy had already concluded the prophet was the brain behind everything. On the day before the traditional wedding, Ben called her and asked, Honey, is there anything I need to know about you? Someone had told me there is something you aren't telling me. But of course I told the person that isn't possible. So honey, I want to hear from you. At this point, Aduke didn't know what to do or say. Indeed, there was something she needed to tell him. But then, she had passed through that road of honesty and sincerity twice, but ended up being hurt. Should I open up to Ben? What if he disappears like Mike and Williams? Oh no. No, I can't deal with that. Invite had been sent. Mommy and other women were busy boiling tomatoes and making other preparations for tomorrow. No, I can't afford not to get married tomorrow. Aduke decided to conceal the secret. Honey, why will you say that? I mean, there isn't anything you need to know about me that you don't already know, Aduke said, but dying of guilt. He hugged her tightly. I believe you. I know you wouldn't keep anything away from me. Don't mind the idiot, he said. As Aduke hugged him in return, her heart was beating so fast. She was looking at Ben in the eyes and lying to him. I'm sorry, Ben. I can't afford to lose you. I am very, very sorry, she said within herself. Soon, it was the break of the dawn. The women who had come to pass the night in their place woke up early and were busy cooking. They had a lot to do. Everyone in the house was busy. Some of our relatives, both from our maternal and paternal side, were already in the house. The house has never been that busy. There was this glow in Mommy's eyes. She was very happy, if not happier than the bride. She was the chief supervisor. She was everywhere, trying to make everything perfect. Ben on his part was calling every now and then, just to make sure everything was going on well from Aduke's end. Bami entered the room where Aduke was getting dressed and excused everyone. Omo me, he began. That was the first time Bami was addressing her like that. My daughter, my beloved child, I know I haven't been the best of fathers to you. I haven't been there when you needed me. But you have never ceased to make your mother and I proud. I am sorry, my daughter, for all I have done. For being a worthless father, I am sorry. Oh, those words were the best wedding presents to Aduke. She hugged her father tightly, crying profusely like a child. Oh, mommy, please don't cry. It is your day and I just want you to be happy. Please. Aduke dried her eyes and her father continued. You have a beautiful life ahead of you. Your wedding shall be a blessing. You shall have children, both male and female. In fact, you shall become Iyabeji. I bless you as your father, and so shall it be. Her traditional wedding was a success. It was beautiful. Her bride price was paid, and she had become Mrs. Ben traditionally, and she was very happy. The following day was the white wedding, and the main day invitees were expected to be around. The women had begun their preparations of the food as usual. Everything was going on fine, except Ben wasn't calling her to know how things were going on her end, as he did the previous day. But Aduke waved it off, thinking he was busy too from his end. She was beautifully dressed in a flowing white gown. Her maid of honor and little bride with her. Her sister and friend Joyce, who was heavily pregnant, entered the car with her, while her parents and other bridal train followed in other cars. They were heading to church to be joined in holy matrimony. Getting to the church, she couldn't believe Ben hadn't arrived. You know that feeling when the bride is in church and the groom is nowhere to be found? Her heart was beating fast. She felt like dying. His best man was around and couldn't give an account of Ben's whereabouts. According to him, Ben had asked him to go to church that he was coming. Aduke tried calling him. Several other people tried calling him. His phone was ringing, but he wasn't picking up. The officiating ministers and her family were all worried. What could have gone wrong? Aduke reminisced about the eve of the traditional wedding when he asked her if she had anything to tell him. Could it be that whoever told him I had something to tell him happens to be the one who knows me? Could the person have spilled it out? Oh my word, I am finished. She was panicking. Mommy and Bami were trying to calm her down, but all efforts was to no avail. Her wedding was for 9 a.m. and it was past 12 noon, but the groom was nowhere to be found. Just call her a bride without a groom. But how can a little mistake I made ruin my life like this? Why me? Who exactly did I offend? Why is my life like this? Aduke didn't know what to do. She had lost 2 men because of her sin. Am I going to lose Ben too in such a disgraceful manner because of my past yet again? She was crying profusely. But then a voice came to her head and said, His ways are not your ways. His ways are not the ways of men. Aduke got encouraged and started praying, asking God for yet another mercy. She turned the situation to prayer. She was praying vehemently in the car. Her parents and others were surprised that she had immediately stopped lamenting and crying and had started praying. Having prayed for some time, she stopped and was staring at space. The head pastor then came to her in the car and said, If by 12:30 p.m. the groom isn't around, then we will leave. Aduke looked at him and nodded in agreement. People were already whispering and talking. The groom has abandoned her. What a shame. What a pity. Were the words flying around, even in the church. Aduke wanted to start crying. But then she didn't know where she found courage and she started singing. What the enemies meant for evil, God has turned it around, turn it around. What the enemies meant for evil, God has turned it around for my good. It was about 12:45 p.m. and the minister had announced to the congregation that the wedding cannot hold since the groom is nowhere to be found. He apologized for the inconveniences. Mommy was crying profusely. Bami was walking up and down in panic. The head minister and other ministers came out to encourage Aduke. My daughter, You have to be strong. Take courage in God. He alone knows what's the best, and no one can question him. Please, my child, be strong. God has a plan and a purpose for you. He stopped talking and was staring at the gates. Other ministers and Aduke turned their heads to the direction to see what was happening when they saw Ben walking in. The best man and other persons shouted in happiness. He knelt down before the ministers and apologized for coming so late. What in heaven's name happened? You kept your bride and everyone else in panic. You weren't taking your calls and you weren't at home either. What happened? Everyone asked. Please, sir, it was something beyond my control. I am sorry, Ben repeatedly said. He went to Aduk and pleaded. He was sorry for coming late. Her parents and every other person around pleaded with the ministers to go on with the wedding. Thankfully, they all blushed and then went inside the church for the wedding, which was as fast as possible. Before 2 p.m., everything was done. Aduke could see pain in Ben's eyes, even though he was smiling. She wanted to know what was happening. She wanted everything over and done with, so she could ask Ben what the matter was. They went to the reception ground, and Ben was trying so much to be his usual self, but Aduke could see passing. At last, the whole party was over. She had finally become Mrs. Ben. They drove to the hotel they had planned for their honeymoon. Ben didn't say a word all through the ride. Everything was strange to Aduke. What is going on? She asked within herself and tried to begin a conversation. Oh, thank God, honey. We are finally married. It's been a very long and tiring day. But Ben didn't even say a word. Getting to the hotel, Ben alighted from the car and went straight to the room without minding the bags in the truck. Aduke was still on her wedding gown and it was very heavy. She had to get the bags herself and was struggling with her gown and carrying the bags. Thank God for a worker in the hotel who saw her in dear need of help and assisted her to get her things to the room. Ben was in the bathroom when she got in. It was a very big and presidential kind of room, so beautiful and adorable. But the pressure in her heart didn't allow her to appreciate it. Coming out of the bathroom, he was on shorts and an armless shirt. Honey, what's going on? Please talk to me. What happened today? Why the extreme lateness to church? What's happening? Why aren't you talking to me? She asked, but he wasn't talking to her. Instead, he took a novel on the table in the hotel room and started reading. Aduke tried to hold him and talk to him. He removed her hands from him and went out to the bar in the hotel and started drinking there. Aduke was waiting for him to return so they could talk. She was very tired. Everything happening was too much for one day. What could it be? What could be happening with Ben? Did he find out my secrets? Is it something else? Does it even have anything to do with our marriage? What could be eating me up like this? After thinking for so long without a comprehensive stand and answer, she sat on the bed in tears. She didn't even know when she fell asleep. It was Joy's call that woke her up around 8 a.m. the next day. Iyawo, she shouted at the other end of the phone. Aduke gave her a very cold response. Hey, you don't sound excited and happy. What's going on? I mean, wedding night is usually the blast for couple. Hope it was wow. Oya, give me gist now. Joyce was busy being her usual self, not knowing Aduke wasn't. In fact, her life wasn't at that point. Joyce, please let me call you back, she said to her and hung up. Ben wasn't on bed. Honey? 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 She called. She thought he was in the bathroom, but when she didn't get answer, She decided to push open the door, but Ben wasn't inside. Where could he be? She was still on her wedding gown. She had to change into something easier and lighter. She had a bath and was refreshed. It was actually the Thanksgiving in his church, but he's nowhere to be found. Oh my God! What's with all this disappearing and appearing? She called his phone, but he wasn't taking her calls. He later turned it off. Aduk was going mad. The whole thing was becoming too much for her head to handle. While she was still hopelessly trying to call Ben, Bami's call came in. "Hello, Bami. Ẹ káàárọ̀ sir," she greeted. "Ọmọ mi. Báwo ni? Aduk, please, you have to come home. Immediately, like right now," Bami said. "Bami, hope all is well. You know today is my Thanksgiving in church. I'm even trying to call my husband. I don't know his whereabouts," Aduk said. "There will be no need looking for your husband. Just come over. He's here," Bami said. "Bami, my husband is there?" Aduk asked, confused. "Yes, my daughter, he is. And I'm not understanding what he's saying. Please be here as quickly as possible," Bami said and ended the call. My God, it don't happen. What's going on? Aduk changed again and hurried home to her parents' house. Ìyàwó, ìyàwó, everyone greeted as she alighted from the taxi. She tried to answer their greetings as nice as she could, then she rushed inside. Lo and behold, indeed her husband was there. "Bami ẹ káàárọ̀ sir. Mami ẹ káàárọ̀ ma." She greeted her parents and they answered her in not too cheerful manner. "Honey, ẹ káàárọ̀ sir." She greeted Ben, but he ignored her completely. "My daughter, what is going on? Or what went wrong between your husband and you? Because I don't understand what is happening here," Bami said, while Mami was in tears. "Bami, I don't understand myself. My husband has been acting strange, so different. He hasn't said a word to me since yesterday. I don't know what I've done to him," Aduk said in tears. "Sir, Ma, I came this early to tell you that I'm no longer interested in your daughter. The marriage is over," Ben said in so much anger. It was like someone had hit Aduk's head with a piece of wood. She felt a sharp pain on her head. "Ben, what did you just say?" Bami asked. "Sir, I said I want a divorce. I am no longer interested in marrying your daughter because I cannot be married to a woman like this," Ben said. "My son, we can talk this out. Yes, we can. Please, whatever your wife, my daughter, has done to you, please forgive her. This can't possibly be the only solution. How can a marriage of less than 24 hours come to an end? Please, Ben, forgive her of anything she had done. Please," Mami said. "Forgive a woman who lied to me? Mami, you said I should forgive her? Even when I called her a day before our traditional wedding to tell me if there was anything I needed to know about her, she looked me in the eyes and lied to me. How would someone who claims to love me be such a dangerous liar? If she and even you, her parents, could keep such a secret from me, then she could keep deeper secrets. God knows I wouldn't have the mind to abandon her. I wouldn't. We could adopt kids. It won't hurt this much if I didn't find out from someone else. It won't hurt this much if your daughter had told me the truth, even at the last minute when I asked her. No! Instead, she chose to call me a fool by telling me there was nothing, Ben said in anger. Aduke was already in tears. She was shaking profusely. Oh, my past has come to hurt me in the face. Oh, my word. Ben, what are you talking about? What secrets are you talking about? Please, my son, you would have to speak in plain language because my wife and I don't seem to understand a thing. Oh, please, sir, stop the pretense. You won't tell me you and your wife aren't aware that your shameless daughter here slept with anything in trousers as a student and had her womb completely damaged in the course of an abortion and will never be able to bear a child, Ben spewed. What? Mommy said in shock and passed out. They rushed to where her mother was and sprinkled some water on her, and then she sneezed. They were relieved and happy that she was conscious again. But then, they had an issue at hand. Adukemi, please tell me. Tell me what Ben has said is a lie. Tell me you weren't living a deceitful life in school. And you have your womb intact, Mommy asked, crying profusely. And this broke Adukemi's heart into 1,000 pieces when she wept. Mommy, what he said, though not exactly a lie, but not all of it is true either, Aduke said soberly. Really? So which part is true and which part is a lie? The person that told me is someone who knows you too well. That you lived a wayward life in school or that you don't have a womb. Which of them is a lie? I thought you were a decent girl. I thought you had morals. I thought you were different. I never knew you were good for nothing. Shameless prostitute. Hold it right there, Bami shouted at Ben, to the surprise of Mommy and Aduke. I know you are angry. I know the whole thing is shocking. But I won't have you call my daughter such derogatory names, especially in my presence and in my house. I appreciate you for bringing the matter home to my wife and I. But one thing I would appeal now is to hear from Aduke. My daughter is not a girl of sort. That I know. Please, let's hear from her, Bami said. Ben, though still angry, obeyed Bami and sat down. Aduke, speak on. We are listening, Bami said. I didn't live a wayward life in school. I didn't even have a boyfriend. My life worst nightmare began in 200 level. I had returned home after the exams, only to meet Mommy in pains. Her shop had burnt down, and the people she was owing didn't want to hear anything about the fire incident. All they cared for was the mourning. Mommy and I were humiliated and embarrassed. Some of them even called me a worthless daughter for not being able to help my mother, saying my mates were taking care of their parents already. Meanwhile, I had a classmate by name Sharon who was sleeping with men for money and making so much. She had actually wanted me to join her in her dirty deals, and I had declined and even stopped being friends with her. But when the shame was too much, I couldn't bear it anymore. Mommy was losing weight and almost falling sick from the daily harassment. I had to call Sharon for help. Unfortunately, she couldn't help me with the money I needed, but told me of one who could be of help. So I followed Sharon to an hotel one night and she introduced me to Chief. But getting into the room with Chief and alone with him, I couldn't bring myself to sleeping with him. So when he went to take his bath, I saw a briefcase, of which I opened and saw some dollar notes. She sniffed in I opened and saw some dollar notes. I took as many as I needed to sort Mommy's bills and tried to escape. But unfortunately, I was caught at the gate by the chief thugs and they brought me back to him. Chief was angry that I tried to steal from him. He ordered his boys to tie me up and he raped me mercilessly. Aduke cried deeply as the rape scene was playing in her head yet again. She continued. When he was done, he gave me 2 million naira because I was a virgin. Mommy, that was the 2 million naira I gave you then and lied that my friend's parent had given us. I was ashamed of myself. I was dying of guilt. I didn't plan to lose my virginity in such a manner, but the situation of life made me. I went back to school, but my life wasn't the same. I found out I was pregnant almost 5 months gone. I didn't want anything to do with Chief and I wanted my life back. Hence, I opted for an abortion suggested by Sharon. And in the process, my womb was damaged. I am sorry, Mommy. I am sorry. I met Mike during my service and I told him about my situation. But unfortunately, he broke up with me and called off our introduction because of the truth I had told him. I met Williams yet again and I told him my situation. And yet again he left me. That was why when you came to my life, Ben, I didn't tell you. Because I was scared you would leave me again like Mike and Williams did. That was why I didn't tell you. I am sorry, Ben. Please forgive me. Aduke knelt before him crying. Her mother came to her and hugged her tightly. Oh, Mommy, I am sorry you had to go through all this by yourself. All for me. But why didn't you tell me? Why did you carry this much burden on your shoulders alone? Mommy was in tears. My child, I am sorry for all you went through. My daughter, I am so ashamed of myself. If I was responsible enough as your father, all this wouldn't have happened. I failed you and I failed God. You had to do for your mother what I was supposed to do. And you paid with your pride. Please, Aduke, would you ever forgive this father of yours? Bami was in tears. Aduke was in tears. Mommy was in tears. Even Ben was in tears. Bami held Aduke tightly, but she doubted if that would be enough to save her 24-hours-old marriage from ending. My son Ben, I take full responsibility for my daughter's mistakes. Please do not send her packing. It will break me into 1,000,000 pieces. Please forgive her. With God, nothing is impossible. My daughter will bear you children. That I am positive. Except God has ceased to show mercy. But if God is still on the throne and still watches over us, his children, he would hear my cry. Bami was about kneeling down with tears to beg when Ben held him up quickly. No, sir. Please don't do that. I am not God that you should kneel down for. Moreover, you are an elder. Kneeling for me is a curse, Ben said. Bami sat down and was still in tears, feeling guilty for all his negligence. Mommy went to him, trying to calm him. Aduke went to her husband and knelt before him again. Honey, please, I am sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I was just scared of losing you. Please forgive me. He took her up and hugged her. Minutes later, they were on their way to the hotel. Aduke was very happy that Ben had forgiven her. She had joy like a river in her heart. She smiled at him and he returned it. Get your stuffs. We are going home, Ben said immediately they entered the hotel room. Aduke wondered why he had said that, because they had planned for a 2-week honeymoon. Could it be that he's still angry at me? Or he isn't just comfortable being in an hotel? Nevertheless, she arranged her things and in minutes they were on their way home. When they got to his beautiful apartment, Aduke smiled and was happy she was in her home already. Honey, I am very happy to be home finally. I am now home as your wife. She tried to hug him, but then he pushed her. Thank God the couch was close to her and she fell to it. Now listen, you good for nothing shameless sluts. You see the two of us? We have nothing in common. I only allowed you to my house because your father was crying shamelessly like a woman. I wouldn't want to look evil by ignoring the tears of an elder. He wanted me to go with you, right? Here you are. You are nothing to me. Stay far away from me. I mean very far. I don't want to see you near me. I don't even want to perceive you around me. Trust me, you will be doing yourself a favor by staying far from me. Cause you are dead to me. Ben said this angrily and walked inside the bedroom. Aduke couldn't believe those words actually came from Ben. She was shivering out of fear. She knew right there and then that she was in trouble. Hey African Tales by Kamma Tribe, how are you all doing? For me, I am doing just fine. What do you think about this episode? And let me even ask, are you enjoying the series at all? If you are, let me read it in the comment section and share with me what you think would be for Aduke in this marriage and what you think would be the solution. If you have not liked the story, what are you waiting for? Please like, subscribe if you have not, and share out this goodness for other people to see. If you like what I do on this channel and you want to support me, kindly use the link on my bio to buy me coffees. You can as well use the link on the description of this video to buy me coffees as well, or you can buy me a super thanks. Till I bring the last episode of the series your way, it is a goodbye from here and God bless you.